CEO Coons Motor, not a stranger to the show, Alex Perdikis. Alex, welcome to the show.
Hey, gentlemen, how's it going today?
It's fantastic. Thanks for being back. We always enjoy having you on this show. Alex, how's biz?
Thank you. Hey, we're ready for this government to reopen. We're here in the DC market. Business is actually fixed ops is killing it. For obvious reasons, and sales has been, October was a little softer, a little pullback from the September and August numbers that we were trending. Traffic was still up, believe it or not, in October over the prior year. And sales were up a little bit. So that's a positive. And I think right now, November is actually trending in a better direction. We're actually ahead of October. I think a lot of our, not to say constituents, but clients that are, government workers here in the area, because we have several 100,000, government employees here. I think they're feeling the end's coming. So with that being said, people are starting to make they're gaining confidence to make a purchase decision. We're also running with a government shutdown program that we launched on October 1st when the government shut down.
So before we go into that, Alex, because I want you to share the program with us.
Sure.
It's interesting. Anyone who's ever tried to get on an airplane in the past week, 10 days, has felt the impact of this shutdown through TSA and airport delays, which actually is kind of a smart strategy if you think about it from the government standpoint, trying to get max pressure applied. Obviously, SNAP benefits and some of the other programs that government has out there have been a pain point for those in need of that. How have you, in your dealerships, given your geography, how has the shutdown manifest back to you? Is it a talking point with customers? Is it something that they're less interested in making purchases over? Where are you seeing the pain point, Alex?
So I think it's not every customer that's in the area, but you've got a government shutdown that also that impacts also federal contract, defense contractors or different government contractors that are in the area. So it's not just the government employee, that one person in and of itself.
Yeah.
So it kind of spreads, right? It's kind of like a web of, there's some involvement with the government somewhere, with a lot of organizations and a lot of people in the area. So it's more of I think it's just more of a concern and it's a confidence issue, right? In terms of wanting to make a decision. And so I think for us, it's doing what we can as a leader in the community to offer them some sort of a peace of mind to say, you've helped us become who we are in this market. We're, not even 7-8 miles north of the city. Even though we're in Maryland, our main stores are in Silver Spring, Maryland, and Bethesda, Maryland. Bethesda, Maryland's not even, it borders on Washington, D.C., Northwest Washington, D.C. So we're right there. And so we get a lot of, we have a lot of people that are clients that are obviously been government employees lifetime, or even just current government employees that have been, they might be attorneys, they might, you can go on and on, all the different facets of employment within the government. So it's just, it's an impact, and somebody may not be a government employee, but they might have a child or a relative or a niece, nephew, whatever it may be, aunt, uncle, parent that works. And so it kind of has a trickle down effect on everybody in the area. It's all really people talk about now. So with that said, I feel like it's our responsibility, because these clients are our foundation of who our organization has become. And I feel like it's our responsibility to kind of take that leadership role and offer something back.
So it's interesting you bring that up. So Grant Cardone was on the show, and he once talked about how in automotive, we get really good at creating opportunity in chaos, right? Opportunity in adversity. So you've got your message, which is you want to give back to the customers that put you in the position where you are.
Correct.
What specific programs did you put in place to help attract those customers, and what was the net impact of that?
So two specific items that are out there. Number one, anybody that owns a Ford, Lincoln, or Mazda, and it does not have to be purchased from any of the Coons Motors dealerships. Okay, so anybody in the DMV that owns a Ford, Lincoln, or Mazda that it was either furloughed or laid off, through this government shutdown, we will provide you with the free in-home mobile service that includes an oil change and a tire rotation. So, you never have to go, you don't have to come into the dealership, nothing. I mean, these people obviously aren't at work. So, coming in their home is probably perfect for most of them. So we will actually come to your home, take advantage of our mobile service vans that we have with Ford and Lincoln, because we can work on any vehicle, and it doesn't have to be, you could have bought a used car from us too. It doesn't have to, we will handle those clients as well. That's a non-brand, right? So with that being said, anyone that takes advantage of it, the van's going to come to your driveway. We will pull up, and it's great. It's great for the client, and it's great for us. We get to show off our vans in all these fantastic neighborhoods around the DMV. The customer gets a free oil change, free tire rotation. Again, they do not have to have bought a car from us. So that's been, that's one of the big things, right? That's
so this is only during the shutdown, Alex, right? Or
correct.
Once it, okay.
Yeah.
And
So
how many takers have you had on this?
So we're over 50, right? We've done 50 so far.
Wow.
As of this morning. We've probably got about another dozen or 2 dozen, or about a little over a dozen scheduled already for the next week. Because, we're just trying to, working it into the schedule. And we've told everybody too, when the government reopens, it's going to hopefully, get voted on by the House tonight at 7 p.m. Once that reopens, even if you've got it scheduled, as long as it's scheduled by the time it reopens, we're still going to honor it. And so
Alex, what's your cost in doing those? And then how would you measure ROI on that, Alex?
So look, I mean, the ROI, I'll start with that, is just all the goodwill, right?
Yeah.
You can't really I can't really put a number on it. I've gotten a dozen plus emails, text messages from different clients that have gone either to me or to the service writer or the service managers, where they just can't believe we're doing this, right?
Yeah.
And so the goodwill's on, and not to be negative on other organizations, but CarMax ain't doing this. Carvana ain't doing it.
No.
Asbury ain't doing it. AutoNation ain't doing it. I can go on and on, right? Not to, I challenge them to do it. I think it'd be great if they did, and they can make decisions. But we're the ones that are also, sponsoring your local youth club. We're the ones, we're going to hand out 2,000 pies Friday night at this Thanksgiving dinner. Like, we do these types of things, and I'm not saying us Coons as an organization, the local dealers. And so what I think is important is that people remember your local privately family-owned, operated organization when it comes to times like this, right? Because these other organizations, while they'd love to, their bureaucracy would never let them get it done in time.
No. And what's genius about this, Alex, is it has a predetermined start, right? And then, it can't drag on forever. And you're showing support for a group that has been severely impacted by something.
Sure.
And letting the general public know, hey, we support them. Like you almost want to do 2 free oil changes for the TSA guys who will show up and help you, and gals who will help you get through the deal. What does it cost you? Did Ford give any money to help with this, or what does it cost you for that oil change in the customer driveway?
No, we have with mobile service, we have some incentives, just normal standard incentives that Ford has put out there, that just the usage and the mobile. In our mobile incentives that we have internally with the fixed operations side with Ford, but there's no extra money or anything like that coming in on this. Again, it's just, and then again, the goodwill, getting our name out there, reminding people, what we do for the community. I really don't care if we get car deals out of it or not, whatever. But a lot of the press has picked it up, and it's obviously the free advertising is great, but at the end of the day, I just want those people to remember, especially the ones that didn't buy from us, that bought maybe from, another name store.
You're thinking about that. You're doing something nice,
right? Hey, I'm going to go to the Coons Ford store in Silver Spring this time to buy my F-150 because this other store, when I called them up, they told me to pound sand. So, I think people will always remember that. And then on the flip side too, if you want to buy a car and you've been affected by the shutdown, we are making your monthly payments until the government reopens. Yeah. So
when did you start that, Alex?
Same thing, October 1st.
Okay.
October 1st. So, and that we've done a handful of deals. We haven't, that's been, that, and that we're just like with the in-home services, we're charging all this stuff, to our goodwill internally. right?
So Alex, how did you ideate this? So it's the beginning of a crisis. You're starting to sense it's significant. You're hearing everybody in your marketplace talking about it. How did you get to the point where you're like, hey, this is the idea, and we can make this work for us? And
so I think the key is keeping it simple. And so, and we were going to elaborate on some other, inspection items and things like that. My fixed ops director, who's fantastic, we both just said, you know what, let's just make it about oil changes, right? Yeah. Keep it simple. It's like the Ford, employee pricing program back in the summer. Keep it simple. When we're saying free in-home oil change, right? That's straightforward, and obviously comes with tire rotation and so forth as well. But we just said, let's just hammer this, free in-home oil change. And so I think keeping the message simple resonates well with the customers, with our clients. There's other industries in our area have done something like, like at a couple of the local burger joints, for example, they're giving away, free cheeseburger to government employees, like things like that. You just keep it simple. And I think the messaging resonates really, really well. And I think that's why the service part of it is obviously, gotten so much attention. The sales side of it's a little different. It's a little more, I think as someone that just got laid off or not sure what's happening with their pay, hard to make a $50,000 decision, during this time. So we get that. But we, the handful of deals that we've done were kind of distressed situations where, at least a couple of them that I was involved with where, they got their car in for service and they're staring at a $6,000 transmission bill and, they got to make a decision. And so look, hey, we're here for you folks, let's get you in a new vehicle. We'll take care of the payments until the government reopens. And we know it's going to last, maybe it does last a few months, but the reality of it is it's never gone more than 35 days. Now it's gone over 40. So it's only going to go for so long.
So Alex, just a ton of great comments off social media. I want to go to a few of them. So Strata Works AI says, it's nice to be nice, right? Which, by the way, anybody who's a MASH fan would remember Frank saying, it's nice to be nice to the nice, but MASH fan dates me. So Paul Salzman says, the local dealer is important to any community because it has more agility to make local impact. Hyper local action is so important. And yet it's fascinating, Alex, not a lot of people I don't want to say take advantage of it, but a lot of people hear negative news in the news. They wring their hands, run around circles. The teams kind of get frustrated because it's like, hey, this is impacting our sales. This is impacting ourselves, our ability to be excellent. You've often talked about clarity and consistency as being the backbone of your leadership strategy. This relates to that because you identified the problem. You went clear to a message that was clear and consistent, and then you as a team executed on it. Strata Works AI says, do you think your staff feel like they have a positive purpose too along those lines? What's the impact to your team?
Definitely, absolutely. I mean, they love the messaging, and when you're dealing with a client that you've never dealt with before, that might be 40 miles away, and you're launching a mobile service van into their neighborhood, and they're like in disbelief, right? They're like, we've never even done business with you before, and you're coming to my home to do this. So I think the service writers and the service managers that get the feedback, it's a good feeling, right? And I think we're, I look at our industry as we're so blessed to be in this business. I feel so lucky to do this every day. I really do. I mean, I have to pinch myself sometimes. I'm like, I can't believe I get to do this as a career. And you can make such a big impact on people so quickly with just the smallest things. And so we don't have to overthink it. And, sometimes I think, and I've been guilty of trying to come up with these ideas and programs, and you start to overcomplicate things, and then you don't really understand why they didn't work. Right.
So Alex, that would be my next question. So one of the risks of a program like this is appearing to be tone deaf or trying to capitalize on pain or tragedy. How do you get to that clear message with confidence that both serves your team, because you've got to win hearts and minds among your employees, but then also connects with the public in a way that doesn't come across as like predatory or, ambulance chasing, right?
I think the key is don't tie it into any sort of a payment. Right, in a sense of, so forget the sales side of it for a second. Think about the fixed ops, the in-home mobile service. We're not qualifying it with anything. We're not, because we had those ideas too, like, give everyone a $500 credit, but then that means you got to spend something, like, I think as long as you don't qualify it with, you got to do this to get that, right? You actually keep it simple, and you got to be willing
to pure goodwill.
Right. Exactly. And you got to be willing to do it. Right. That's the next part of it. Right. So fortunately, knock on wood, we have a really great organization. We've got great leaders. Our teams perform at an extremely high level, and we can afford to do it. I mean, if this went on for a year, we could continue to do it. I have no hesitation, no doubt. I'm already thinking about the next time that, the next shutdown happens, right?
It's your government shutdown program.
Right.
I think about it from a customer perspective and even from an employee perspective. Doing good creates more good. And I just think about that. Your mobile service Ford van pulls into the driveway to do a free oil change. And I'm pissed off because I'm a TSA agent and I've had nothing but grief for the past 3 or 4 weeks. Like, you're going to own me as a customer for a long time. You're going to have my loyalty. And I
hope so.
Props to you and the entire team for doing that. Right.
Thank you.
That is a bold statement in the marketplace, and it landed really well. So transitioning a little bit from that before we have to go, you have really grown into a powerhouse in the Mid-Atlantic. What's driving your current expansion mindset, and what's your goal relative to the expansion?
I would tell you, well, first off, it's been like kind of, and when it rains, it pours, right? So other than what we're already working on, because we're working on expanding our current operations just from a footprint standpoint, right? So, we've got, as an example, we've got 46 service bays. I got 47 technicians. Like, we need, we're looking to ramp up our fixed ops. And I can say that with confidence because of one thing, and it's our people. Okay. Yeah. And with the right people, anything's possible, right? You can't do it all yourself. As much as we try, I get up very early every day. I'm up at 4:00, studying my traffic reports, studying my grosses, studying all our leads. I mean, I'm obsessed with that, but I can't do it myself, right? Yeah. I have to be kind of the person to get people going in my mind. Like, I've got to, I gotta start that day early and get people tuned up, but I can't do it myself. And I think over, I'm going to be going on 30 years in this industry soon. Like, you start to realize, after a while, how important your people are. So we've had a lot of, it's almost mind-boggling the amount of opportunities that have been presented to us in the last, I'd say, 90 days. And had a long meeting with a broker yesterday, and it was a great meeting. And I can go into these meetings with confidence because I've got great leaders. And without the great leaders, it's kind of hard to really, sit down and say, okay, we want to do this. This is what we want to expand in. These are the franchise, and start to really look at deals in a confident manner if you don't know who's going to run it at the end of the day.
Yeah. And truly, I agree 100% with you. The ability to grow and expand is directly proportionate to the quality of leaders you have.
100%.
So from your perspective, getting GMs and sales managers and finance people and salespeople to care about the business as much as you do and execute at a high level, what are one or two key takeaways for other dealers listening to creating the culture that elicits that care and concern about your business as much as
I would say it starts with the general manager, right? That's the head coach of the team.
Yeah.
I played, football through college, and my head coach was everything to me. Right. Yeah. And your position coach is important. I was a linebacker, defensive coordinator is critical. Like, you got these important, and I look at those kind of like in a dealership, like you got the head coach, the GM, you got the offensive coordinators, like the GSM, the defensive coordinators, your fixed ops director. Like, I've already played this scenario so many times, and you have to have a great head coach. Yeah. And so if that general manager, not only compensated well, but they have an opportunity to have some skin in the game, right? Or ownership options, right?
So give them ownership a little bit.
You got to give them that opportunity, right? So and that's where, my mentor, Jim Coons, over the years, obviously, he's retired now, but how he grew his empire, really, he had great general managers that people, gave them opportunity to put skin in the game. And so once you've got that, not just, ownership from a mental perspective, but from a financial perspective, and you've got the right people in place, the rest kind of takes care of itself. As long as you're on the same page with, ethics and business policy and business practices and certain processes that you want to see in place, you got to let those general managers run with it. So
Alex, what's the right percent buy-in? And the producers are going to kill me because they're giving me notes. We got to move on. But Alex, having a conversation with you is absolutely fascinating. So I'm wanting to hear. I just have 2 more questions. So what's the max buy-in that you'll allow the GMs to have? And then another quick question.
Well, I think you start at 5%.
Okay.
And then it goes from there. And and the buy-ins aren't a given, right? You have to have certain preset criteria that you all agree on. And you'll say, hey, Jim, look, if we hit this in 2026, let's agree that these are the 3 criteria. Here's a sales here's a new car market share number. Here's a profitability number. Here's a, fixed ops, whatever they might be, right? The different criteria. Obviously, prerequisite is always going to be great CSI. That's never an option to not have great CSI. As long as we hit these things, okay, here's your initial 5%, and this is the value at that 5%, right? And then you just you build it up over time. And I think you give that option. If things are going well, you give that option every year.
Will you allow them to buy it out, or is there a max buy-in?
I'm not, for me personally, no. I mean, not in my, no. I mean, I'm looking to grow. I'm looking to acquire. But look, a general manager making a general manager commission plus 30 or 40% of a net, you're living
it's a great income.
Good life.
Yeah, it's a great life. Yeah. Well, Alex Perdikis, CEO Koons Motors. I have so many other questions. We'll have to do it another time.
Yep, no problem.
But we appreciate you being on and sharing your strategies during the shutdown. Hopefully, to your point, tonight it's all over. So, Alex, thanks for being
7 o'clock. Let's go. Let's push it through.
Let's do it.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you. Thanks for being on.